Hello, and welcome to another episode of the CIRS Group podcast. I'm Barbara.
And I'm Jacie.
And today, first of all, happy Christmas and New Year and Hanukkah and all the things. So we thought this would be a good opportunity to give a little health update for us. If just to, in case anyone was wondering what things were happening in our own personal CIRS journeys and where we are at with that, and we'll certainly, I'm sure, have some lessons that we've learned that we can provide to you. So hopefully you don't make the same mistakes. I know I've made a couple. I don't know if there will be any in JC's update, but yeah, I'm excited to dig into it. JC, would you like to go first?
Yeah, and for this episode, none of this is medical advice. We're just sharing our journey. So if any of this resonates with you, definitely pass it by your CIRS practitioner to see if it would might be right for you. So we do have other episodes about our health journeys, so definitely check those out if you want more context. But I'm just going to start with a really quick recap. In the summer of 2021, I started getting really sick really fast. My CIRS actually triggered an autoimmune condition called ankylosing spondylitis. So for a while there, I was not very mobile. I was using a cane to walk around and I was blind in my right eye because of uveitis. That happened within a couple of months. Following that, I was becoming more mobile and my eye issues cleared up with steroid use, but I still had all these lingering symptoms. So it was the spring of 2022 when I finally got my CIRS diagnosis. And since then, I've been doing the Shoemaker protocol. So this would be year two, I guess, of doing the Shoemaker protocol. And I am technically on step 12. I've been running some experiments with nicotine. So that kind of leads into the first part of my update. I'm going to be getting a NeuroQuant, which is the brain scan that measures volumetric changes in the brain. I kind of dropped the nicotine thing and didn't actually tell you why I'm doing that. So I'm taking nicotine mints daily as a way to see if it can help with the neuro regeneration that VIP would help with. I have a lot of the same physical experience of nicotine as I do with VIP because I was on VIP for a little while and then I stopped when I changed practitioners and did the nicotine thing instead of going back on VIP. So I'm really interested to see how my brain is doing. So I'm going to be getting that NeuroQuant and then updated lab markers for all of the innate immune response blood work that a CIRS patient would usually get. Depending on what my brain looks like and my blood work looks like, go back on VIP. The other things I was kind of playing with looking into is tick-borne because for a little while there I was traveling a lot, but I wasn't like rebounding as quickly as I have been when I was traveling. So I thought maybe I had some residual stuff I needed to clear up. But lately I've been still traveling a lot and feeling really great. And I kind of, uh, I think it's because I've added plasmalogens, so glia and neuro, and then I also added KPV, which is a peptide. It's kind of like it's not the analog of MSH, but it's similar to MSH. It raises your MSH or blood MSH levels. So I think I'm rebounding a lot faster from travel now, which is really cool. I do need to retest my home because I had some leaks from my AC in the summer. And then I'm actually moving in summer of next year because my lease is up and I'm probably not going to stay in the Denver area. That was a lot.
Yeah, no, but it's exciting.
Yeah.
Um, and most exciting is just that you feel pretty great most of the time, despite travel. Travel to rather questionable areas, not the worst, not like you went to Florida, but you went to a lot of other places that and dealt with a lot of airports and planes and other people yeah, it's been great to see how resilient you are through all of that process. And I think all the things that you're taking and the precautions you're taking are obviously paying off. So that's exciting.
Yeah. And just to put into context the questionable part, like some pretty wet places, the UK. I feel like we went to Frisco, Texas for CIRS X and the airport there, was it Dallas or Houston?
Dallas.
Dallas. That airport is not okay.
Yeah.
I traveled to Tennessee, also Seattle, Buenos Aires, which was less humid than I expected.
Mm.
And I feel like I'm missing one. Las Vegas to visit you.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Yeah. I think the only regret that I have for you is that you didn't get a NeuroQuant sooner to see like truly the difference with nicotine. At the same time, though, you're going to get this like at least a current picture of where you're at to your point, and maybe you don't even need VIP, which is going to be wild. It'll be interesting to think about how much nicotine played a part in that. But yeah, I'm excited to see your NeuroQuant for obvious reasons. And I am also not to jump ahead, but I am jumping ahead just because it's relevant. I am playing with nicotine at this point as well in a slightly different way. But I am going to get well, I've already had a NeuroQuant, and I'm wondering if I should get another one like right now as I'm starting nicotine to kind of be that immediately before baseline of it, and then wait a few months and then maybe get another one. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but like I just wanted to mention that because it was related to what you're doing as well. I like these
Yeah,
fun self experiments that don't, at least they don't hurt, right?
yeah. And if you, listener, want more context for the nicotine thing, definitely check out the episode we did with Dr. Christian Navarro Torres about nicotine. It'll put a lot of that into perspective. So if your immediate reaction is like, nicotine, smoking. Yeah, we're not smoking.
Yeah.
We like very specifically not smoking cigarettes. So um, it's kind of controlled. It's in a controlled environment. We're trying to kind of see if this is a way to, one, make the effects of VIP more accessible. So, spoiler alert, in that episode, we talk about how nicotine endogenously stimulates VIP production. So, like, it triggers your own body to make VIP. So, that's why it might be working in the way that we think it is. But it would also make travel a lot easier
Yeah.
because if you travel with VIP, it has to stay refrigerated. So, it can be kind of like a limitation to using VIP. But, anyways, more to come. We'll look at my brain soon.
Yeah. That'll be exciting.
So like Barbara said, like the good thing about this past year is like I feel good. Like I have symptom resolution unless I travel, and then at this point it's just a couple days to get back on track and then I have no symptoms again. So really I'm looking at 2025 as the year to kind of tidy up more of the limbic piece. I have this thing where something happens that kind of throws me off my game and then I kind of snowball. So, like, for example, and I guess this is an example of something you shouldn't do, but it's going to be hyper specific and hopefully hilarious. But I was going to the airport to go on a girls' trip with Barbara. And I started feeling really nauseous in the car. So I think my roommate may have had some sort of endotoxin exposure and brought it into the car. So I got to the airport. I could barely stand up in line for the TSA. Like I was just shaky. I felt so sick. But I got through TSA and I did all the things. I took well call, I, like wiped down with an alcohol wipe. I had some pickles. I think the vinegar may have helped me process the endotoxins. And after that, I was just kind of felt off for the next day or so. And I think it was the exact next day. I had some meatballs and they had just come out of the air fryer and they were kind of too big for my mouth. And I ended up, like, long story short, I ended up burning the absolute crap out of the roof of my mouth to the point where I had to go to urgent care twice for antibiotics. But it's just like that's how things happen for me. Something happens and I'm like slightly thrown off my game, and then like another thing happens because I'm off my game. And so I really want to work on that limbic retraining piece to rewire those neural pathways so that if I am thrown off my game, I can kind of like reset back to better defaults. The way I'm planning on doing this is kind of like floaty and subjective right now, but it's just like taking care of myself first. And one of the really big things I want to focus on is slowing down, like actually physically slowing my movements down. I find that that's really helpful to me, but also not taking on any really big projects or simultaneous little projects because I have a habit of like last year I wrote a book and I edited 30 plus videos for the CIRS Summit, and all of these things seem to happen in like really contracted time periods where it's just like this big stressful thing. So my goal for next year is to not do that.
Yeah.
And then also working with my 9 to 5 job. I work for a software as a service company and kind of working with them to reconfigure what my workload looks like and the type of work that I'm doing because some of the stuff I do I really enjoy, some of it I really don't enjoy, but there are other opportunities within the company I would like to pursue. And so I've been talking to the leadership at my company to see how I can like start getting integrated into those other things. And it's been about a month of trying to do this, and so far I've been like tiptoeing my way into different departments. It's a good time.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. Can we take a second though, guys? Jacie's book is coming out in days. Days from the moment that you listen to this, if you're listening to it as soon as it comes out, which most people do, I think. Um, yeah, like your book. We'll have the link to order that book. But Jacie,
Actually,
do you
I
want
can
to
do you
talk
one
about it?
better. I have it right here.
I haven't even seen, I mean, I've saw Jacie sent me a picture at one point, but like we haven't been on Zoom with her having it in her hand. I'm very excited.
That took me a moment. Oh, yep.
Yay! It's
So
only a
it
little bit
is.
blurry. Yeah,
It's
it's
only a
so
little bit blurry.
pretty.
Yeah, so it's the 30-day carnivore boot camp. You can find it on Amazon. We'll leave a link in the description box. But I'm really proud of this work, not only because it's really all of my thoughts about carnivore, but also carnivoring responsibly, in
Mm,
the sense that a lot of times in the carnivore space, if someone isn't doing well, people will tell them to carnivore harder. And that's what happened to me when I got sick. But I think at a certain point, if you're trying to do something and you're not getting 100% symptom resolution, it's just symptom management. And so in the book, I was able to put information about CIRS. So that was a huge win for me.
yeah, that's so awesome. I'm so excited to get mine. I pre-ordered. I might have been the first pre-order because JC was slow at telling people in the very, very beginning, or maybe selective. Slow is not the right word, selective. But I am very excited to get mine when it arrives, and we'll have the link, of course, if you guys want to pre-order as well. And if you do, please consider leaving a review. Now I am JC's publicist, apparently. But consider leaving a review. Those really do matter, especially in the first week. If you can get on there and leave a review right when you get the book, obviously look at it, consider the content, and leave a review for JC. That'll be helpful and exciting. I'm so excited and proud.
Oh, thank you. And thank you if you do buy the book, if you check it out, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
What about you, Barbara? What do you have going on?
Well, I would say I'm looking at my notes here to remember. And don't worry, it's not that long, guys. But my brain does not hold things very well. But yeah, my big focus for the last bit, kind of out of necessity, has been, I am crying already. The mental health piece. Anyone who watched the CIRS Summit already knows, because I was very privileged and honored to facilitate the grief panel for the CIRS Summit. And man, I was processing right there on camera for that, and I guess I am now too. But the short story is, I think I well, not maybe not most people. Some people know that I lost one of my dogs this year. Um, so that was hard. That was August. Um, And I didn't do my recap. My recap for previously is I've had GI issues probably most of my life. If I and they just have gotten worse in the last few years. And I had normalized that I think for a while until I realized that I probably shouldn't. And that's yeah, I played with all the different diets. I eventually got diagnosed with SIBO. And then when carnivore didn't fix that, similar to JC's experience, but obviously my experience was a more of a chronic, whereas JC's was very acute and like, you know, packed a punch all in one go. For me, it was just kind of this gradual process. So I did try carnivore for a year and nothing helped the GI issues. I had a lot of other really great benefits from carnivore, which I've talked about before, but it didn't solve the reason I went to it. And it is a hard way of eating to maintain if it's not actually helping you with like the worst stuff, the reason that you came to it in the first place. So, um, I got my SIRS diagnosis at the same time JC did, and have been working, doing the binders and being on the protocol again for about the same amount of time. I think I've taken more breaks. Just, I'm the type of person who's all or nothing in some regards. And sometimes if I'm just kind of overwhelmed and over it, I will just stop taking my binders and stop taking supplements and just kind of give myself a mental break from it. Not long, maybe a month at a time or a couple months here or there. Uh, but again, my SIRS is relatively mild in the world of SIRS. So I feel, privileged to be able to take those breaks and not feel um, a big setback from that. But the big setback was losing Rosie. What I didn't expect was the flare of anxiety. that got a lot worse. But I have been working with a fantastic therapist, and in addition to anxiety, I also have PTSD, um, and not from Rosie, but from childhood fun experiences, and also ADHD. So I also have am dealing with that. Thankfully, my therapist is aware of all three. She's done a lot of work in all three, which um, I can't recommend enough. If you have comorbidities and when it comes to them, especially the mental health space, but really even any health space, if you can get a doctor that is at least aware, if not good, like mine is, thank God, uh, at all of the things you're dealing with, I think that's a really, really helpful piece for me. So we tackled my PTSD first. And we used cognitive processing therapy, CPT, not to be confused with CBT, which I think is more well known. I have a note here for myself to say, like, this is a psychotherapy that helps people with post-traumatic stress disorder recognize and change negative thoughts that can keep them stuck in their PTSD. That has been incredibly helpful. According to my PTSD symptoms, I am basically in remission from that, which is awesome. So, and that's been a lot of work this year. ADHD treatment has also been touch and go. I got a proper evaluation this year, although I got my diagnosis last year. I got my diagnosis at 37, kind of explained my whole life. If you have any issues getting things done or focusing or feeling like you are behind in life more than your peers, it may be something to look into for you. But yeah, so that I am still going through, some coaching with that and kind of relearning how to be productive so that I'm working with my brain and not against it. Um, and uh and beyond that, I think JC mentioned earlier, we did a lot of work on the summit, and that was a more of a sprint at the end rather than a marathon. And so I think we got a little tired from that process and
It
are
was somehow both a sprint and a marathon,
yeah,
though. It was like
yeah.
months of work leading up to the sprint.
No, no, thank you for pointing that out. Yes, it was. So that was a big thing, and it was definitely more work than any of us, I think, realized we were signing on for. And to no one's fault. It just that's how these things go. So we are definitely taking a break after that. No, again, no big projects like that for a bit, kind of like recover. And more excitedly, I am also getting more into vision boarding for 2025. I just have some goals that I want to focus on and make sure I have like a picture to represent those goals. So I'll be working on more of that by the end of the year. So that's ready for January. Um, as far as my plans for CIRS stuff, I am doing more blood work this week. I see my doctor again in January. Like I mentioned earlier, I may get another NeuroQuant soon. And I am playing with nicotine. Now, this is not something I recommend for anyone. This what I'm about to say. Um, because I have tried nicotine in the mint and the pouch forms, which are very clean. It's literally nicotine and a flavor. Like those, that's what you would want if you're already, especially if you're like sensitive, like that's the way you want to go. The problem with me is I'm very sensitive to stimulants. I must be because when I do those versions of nicotine, it's kind of instant nausea, instant like dizziness, lightheadedness, all the stuff. So I have been trying to vape. I don't recommend, this is not a safe way to take in nicotine. There are chemicals in the vape process that are not good for you. This is meant to be a bridge for me, though, to be able to more slowly titrate up the nicotine consumption so that I can tolerate the mints or the little pouch things when I get to that point. So that's my goal for that. I don't know if it's smart. That's why I'm saying don't do this. Uh, but maybe wait until I, see how I do and see if I can get myself up to that level of tolerance because you're just able to take a much, much smaller amount of nicotine in every hit that you do. So it's just a little bit easier on my body, I hope, I think. I still get a little lightheaded. I've been using the vape now for like a week and a half. Um, Still get a little lightheaded when I use it, but it goes away very quickly. It's almost like the same thing happens that I get with the mint, except it dissipates very quickly, and it's not like causing any issues. So yeah, I'm gonna keep experimenting with that. And I guess one other thing that's worth noting, I also have an autoimmune illness that I have not seen since my early 20s, like late teens, early 20s, when I had a lot of stress. But it's called alopecia areata. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I've never known if I've said it right. But basically, I lose a perfect circle patch of hair. That's it. That's all that happens. I could be way worse. I could lose all of my hair, but that's the worst it gets. And I'm thankful it's not a painful autoimmune illness. I no symptoms other than, oh, weird, I have a bald spot now. Thankfully, I have a crap ton of hair because I'm Mexican, and it's totally coverable. And I only know that it is there because my hair stylist told me it was there. So I'll keep an eye on it. But I haven't had a flare up of it in like 15 years. And again, I think it's because of Rosie. Obviously, that's what's affected me. And that was about 4 months ago. And so it kind of like matches up with the general rule I think people have that things show up in your hair about 3-ish months after a thing happens. So that tracks. But that was my very scattered, and I'm sorry for that update, but I think that's where I'm at for right now for the end of 2024.
I'm sure having that physical manifestation of the stress you've experienced, like I hope that's validating for you because I think sometimes you downplay the stress
Mm,
that you're going through, or it's that it's it's I did it, so it must not be that hard
right.
thing that we talk
Yeah.
about sometimes. So I think that it's important that you shared that.
Thank you. Yeah, and I agree. I agree. It's kind of the fact that something has shown up on my hair, in the fact that I've lost my hair in such an obvious patch, uh, is like, hey, yeah, your body's internalizing all of this crap that you're going through. Um, so yeah, I think the takeaway for the audience, is maybe, if something is really hard in your life that is unexpected, um, it will affect your healing, and it will affect you. It'll affect more than just the thing that it is. And that's okay. And you just do the best that you can through that, and you take a break from the protocol if you need to, or maybe you double down on the protocol because you really need it. Like you decide that with your doctor. But just give yourself grace, take good care of yourself. Don't sign on to new projects at that point. Take it easier rather than harder, and really let yourself grieve if that's, appropriate for the thing that's happening. That my doctor, which I'll name drop here, Dr. Sparks, is an incredible doctor on many levels, but I told her when Rosie died, and I was supposed to meet with her that week just for our regular checkup, and she was like, absolutely not. You are clearing your calendar this week. And I did, and I'm so glad that I did. So that was really, really helpful. I think feeling it as much as I did in the beginning made the overall effects a lot better, probably, than they would have been otherwise. So yeah. But
Yeah.
man, 2024 can suck a dick. No, there were some good things that happened, but this was a rough year for, I think, for both of us and for people that in our lives as well. Just there's a lot of hard things going on, and I'm really looking forward to 2025 as a new chapter.
So am I. Well, I think that's a good spot to wrap. Thank you to the people who asked us for a health update. Like that's so sweet. We never expect it, and we're like, oh yeah, maybe we should tell people where we're
Right.
at. So this is that. And in the meantime, if you are looking for more resources and support on your CIRS journey, you can join us over at theCIRSgroup.com.
We'll see you there.